So we are officially in the month of May, and if you are a Nintendo Switch gamer, you know what that means. It means you're most likely hyped for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, especially if you are a Zelda fan. However, one interesting point of conversation when you look at Nintendo Switch and the 2023 games lineup is the simple fact that past Tears of the Kingdom and Pikmin 4, we legitimately know nothing in terms of first-party Nintendo releases and their time schedule to release. We know Metroid Prime 4 is somewhere in their pipeline, but we haven't heard any official confirmation on when that game may be getting close to ready for market. We haven't even had a glimpse at the game in any way, shape, or form itself yet. That begs the question, what is Nintendo planning around the summertime this year, where traditionally we could typically expect Nintendo to align with E3 and put on a traditional Nintendo Direct presentation. However, we have confirmation that Nintendo is not aligned with E3 this year. E3 is canceled entirely, potentially partly due to Nintendo's absence, and the proclaimed reason behind that decision was that it did not fit into Nintendo's marketing plans. However, we now have an official event announcement that Nintendo will be aligning with over the summertime this year in 2023, and I want to break down and discuss the implications of this announcement and what, if anything, it means when it comes to where we should be setting our expectations for a mainline summertime, likely June, Nintendo Direct presentation this year. What's up, nation? Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification if you're new here. And we do have to discuss some brand new Nintendo news today, because in an interesting year that we find ourselves in, like 2023, where it is both a massive year for the Nintendo Switch and a very uncertain year towards the back half, because we have, of course, the most anticipated, maybe ever, Nintendo Switch game release happening this month, which is hard to believe, which is none other than Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Of course, we thought that this may originally come out in the end of 2021, then it was slated for 2022, and ultimately it got pushed to the spring window of 2023, which will ultimately hit retail shelves on May 12th. So this game has been, of course, a long time coming for Nintendo and Zelda fans alike, and I cannot wait to play it personally, but you do have to look at the broader picture of what 2023 has looked like so far for Nintendo. We actually had a number of different notable announcements at the most recent February Nintendo Direct presentation, where Metroid Prime Remaster was just straight up shadow dropped the day of that event. You could digitally download it that day, and then you could pick it up physically a couple weeks later, and that was an entire fiasco in and of itself. We also got the major additions of Game Boy family of systems coming to Nintendo Switch Online, and we've even seen updates to those content libraries since its original launch. So I would say that 2023 so far has not been a bad year. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp is already out. We had Bayonetta Origins hit. Neither one of those were at the top of my hype list for this year, but I will say that especially Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp seems to be super quality. I couldn't justify a $60 price point for Bayonetta Origins myself, but I might look into that when it goes on sale in the future. And we've also seen Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed, the biggest part of the DLC for that game, just surprise announced with like a next week release date. So it's already out as of April 24th. And that was a surprising one, considering Nintendo could have drawn that out and made it something that carried them through more of that summertime window that we really know to be in uncharted territories right now. We, of course, also know about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC. Interestingly, there are no remake games on the scheduled roadmap for Pokemon games this year around, so we only have those two different DLCs to look forward to, and one we know will release in the fall time, and the other one is claimed to be winter 2023, although that could very well be early 2024. And besides that, we know about Pikmin 4 that is slated for a July release, and outside of that, we have zero communication or expectations from Nintendo around first-party Nintendo titles. There are the very heavily rumored Metroid Prime 2 and 3 potentially still in the holster for Nintendo that they may shadow drop at a future Nintendo Direct, one we will be talking about in just a moment here. I do see it in the realm of possibility for those games to just randomly show up one day, and I think a direct presentation is the most likely platform we will see that happen. And maybe it's something like the September Direct when Metroid Prime 2 Echoes just shadow drops, and then next year in February we get Prime 3 Corruption, and then summer 2024 we're playing Metroid Prime 4. All of that is up for debate and speculation. We don't really know what's going on with Nintendo on that Metroid Prime front, but I am certainly happy that we at least got Prime 1. Now, outside of the release schedule, the reason that this year's summer Nintendo Direct presentation up to this point in time has been very heavily called into question by Nintendo Switch fans really just has to do with the fact that last year we saw Nintendo not participate with any traditional mainline summertime Direct presentation, and rather we got a Nintendo Direct mini partner showcase and also a couple game specific directs, one for Xenoblade 3 and one for Splatoon 3, which were the big summertime / fall time titles for them, but we never had that traditional summertime Direct that historically is one of the biggest of the year from Nintendo. The 3 times you can always expect Nintendo Directs to happen is one at the beginning of the year, mostly in February, one in the middle part of the year, almost always in June, aligned with E3 typically, and one at the end of the year, almost always in September. As of last year, that's been called into question because we didn't see any major first-party announcements or a traditional Nintendo Direct presentation take place, and so now in 2023, when you look at the games roadmap, it seems like Nintendo would have to hold a summertime presentation, and now we may have more evidence pointing towards the fact that they will be holding one, because recently there was an announcement that they will be attending Gamescom 2023, which takes place in August. This is essentially an E3 style presentation that happens over in Germany. And to first get on the same page with exactly what's been announced here, let's quickly hop over to VGC and read through their detailed typed up article together. Nintendo is officially returning to Gamescom this year. The company last attended the German Games Expo in 2019. Following a claim from the event's organizer that a major company would return to the show, Canalmus and the German Games Industry Association have now confirmed that Nintendo will exhibit after a 4-year absence. We are excited to announce that Nintendo will be exhibiting at Gamescom 2023, organizers said. Many more exhibitors will follow in the coming weeks. Stay tuned. It's currently unclear what Nintendo's presence at the event will consist of, as the largest titles the company has currently announced, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Pikmin 4, will have released by the time Gamescom takes place in August. The company last attended the show in 2019, where it primarily featured games launching later that year. It also had a large number of booths for consumer attendees to try some of the games. Nintendo is the first major publisher to confirm attendance at the show. So I personally find this very interesting, and I do think that it actually adds fuel to the fire in terms of our expectations to potentially get a Direct next month. Now that we're talking about it, we are in May. June is legitimately next month. That would be the typical time frame we would expect Nintendo to put on one of their mainline Direct presentations, providing that they don't stick to the playbook of last year and just give us a mini partner showcase. But again, you do have to realize that if they are going to partner in August with a gaming expo that they have not been a part of since 2019, they will likely show up with games that are not already out. Could they just set up a Tears of the Kingdom booth and maybe even promote some potential DLC for that game, or talk about Pikmin 4 after its release? It's possible, and maybe they're even going to just have a Pokemon booth and talk about the upcoming DLC for it, but I don't see them only showing up in that capacity. I do think that this event announcement definitely leads credence to the idea that they are going to return to form this year and give us a traditional summertime Direct, because we just need to know what's on the radar for the rest of 2023, unless if we are truly going into some kind of game drought, which I don't see Nintendo doing because the software just simply sells too well on the Switch. We don't know what's happening with potential new hardware for sure either, and we could see ourselves in that pattern of heavy port and remaster focus from Nintendo around the upcoming transition to new hardware. I do tend to believe that a lot of those rumored games like F-Zero GX Remastered, the other Metroid Prime games, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, maybe even Kid Icarus Uprising. All of that kind of stuff could be in the pipeline, and Nintendo may very well be putting the developers' focus on next-gen hardware at this point, with a mainline Mario, with a mainline Donkey Kong, and those come out on the next-gen platform. And then to kind of ease the blow for the rest of this year, to get us through to that point, we actually have more of a port and remaster focus. And I do think that if they're going to be at Gamescom in August, like they have committed to, that they have to have something there to show that we don't know of today, which should for sure give us a little bit of hope that we will see that summertime Nintendo Direct. It doesn't have to be in June, but if you just look at history, June is the most likely month that Nintendo will hold that thing, and we don't have to wait that much longer to get some kind of official confirmation to see what Nintendo has up their sleeves next. And the real big burning question will be, do we actually find out about new Nintendo hardware this year or not? And I definitely think that that will sway what kind of games we see supported towards the end of the current Switch's life cycle, and what kind of presentations we see from Nintendo the rest of the year. But I personally do think that this Gamescom announcement is good news for all of us. It's cool to see Nintendo come back to an event they haven't participated with since 2019, and it might even spell the future of them returning to E3 if we do see that event make it back at any point in the future, or E3 very well could be dead for good, and we might always just see Nintendo hold their own standalone summertime direct, but not aligned with E3 anymore at all. But I really want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, all your personal thoughts and opinions on what we talked about today. Are you excited for Nintendo being at Gamescom 2023? Do you think that there's a chance that they are there with really nothing new to show off, and they actually once again skip a mainline presentation? Maybe they have a partner direct in June, and that's kind of the games that they show up with to promote at Gamescom? Or are you like me and you think that this announcement likely does point to the fact that we could see them hold a traditional Nintendo Direct in the year of 2023 during the summertime? And lastly, let me know which games you hope we see show up at the next Nintendo Direct presentation, and whether or not you think we will see a lot of ports and remasters for the current Switch today, or if you think that some of the announcements we will start to see over the summertime will indeed be for new next-gen hardware. So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around this topic. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, which is on screen right now. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.